Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my BitChute YouTube simulcast together. This is Dr. Gaze 101. Now, on to the topic at large, or some sort of various topics I want to talk about between the old way of thinking versus the new way of thinking. And this is like inspired, or in regards to the conversation I had with one of my Xbox gamers by the name of Ram. We'll call him Ram in short. Hope he doesn't mind me using his name again, in short, that is. And we talked for about a good 30 minutes about the certain ways and means on the lingo and also the way people are being treated among society at large. Between the time that I was graduating from high school and the time that Ram graduated from high school back as of last year or two, him and I are two different people altogether, and two different backgrounds, obviously. He's considered to be a white person living in the suburbs. I'm considered to be a black person, a little older, in my 30s, living in a low-income neighborhood, or at least surrounding myself in a low-income neighborhood. And his way of thinking is very new, surprisingly, to the forefront at large. And it surprised me every time when I talk to this person, and just his group altogether, his group of like 18, 19, 20-year-old friends. I've been knowing these people for about at least 5 years, to my awareness, on the good old gaming community. There's nothing personal against these people. They have their way of thinking, I have my way of thinking. And I'm sure whoever is out there, whether you're as old as or young as like 18 years old or as old as 75 years old, we can at least have some form of exchangement of notes or what ways of thinking, because my way of thinking is like irrelevant halfway through. And all that lingo about I've been talking about the first black president can be destructive to the black power movement and stuff like that, because let's face it, like the first black president, along with the New World Order agenda, is like some unusual way of thinking to think about. And I was worried at the time of having Obama become the first black president altogether. And yes, I for one wanted to become the first black president myself. To those who are well aware of it, I explained that to Ram as well. Now, wondering to yourself, why a schmuck like me asked saying I want to be the first black president? Well, because let's face it, what I look like and what I think and do for the last 10 years, 15 years on this platform on YouTube. I've been at it for years. I've been talking about the truth, or at least my truth, and research and put myself out there for how many years. Whether it's true or not, whether it's invalid or it's expired, or whatever you think of that my perspectives are that expired or is useless or is non-existent in today's world. But it was a very different feeling back when I was growing up, right after high school and all, because it was about the first black president, the first black governor, the first black this, the first black that, as well as other like the John F. Kennedy. As I know it's to veering off the labeling part, but John F. Kennedy, he was the first Catholic president or the Irish president, something like that. It was somewhere around where he's like Irish American, Catholic American. He's like around that spectrum of sorts. Very rare back then. And yes, times do change as we get along and progress into time forward. But what I'm trying to get out of my friend Ram is, why you don't see what I see half the time, if not all the time. I'm trying to explain to him one example of Bill Cosby, for example. Bill Cosby, back in the 1980s, those who are well aware, he was the American dad of the United States at large. He was a role model for not only just for black people in general, but for people altogether. He was considered to be like a doctor of Bill Cosby show, on the Bill Cosby Show, along with the wife and co-host, whatever, co-actor, whatever you want to call it, for the TV show back in the 1980s. And I grew up on that stuff. I looked up to guys like Bill Cosby, Whoopi Goldberg, Michael Jordan. Who else? What else can I think of? Bill Goldberg, the wrestler, or Mark McGuire, or thinkers like that of Stephen Hawkins. These guys that have to sit, the ones who are under 18, 21 years old, give or take, they don't know what I know, or don't have the same feeling of importance, or why is that the first black president is supposed to be important, or why the first black governor of certain states. Because let's face it, we have a dark history of the United States. We have a dark history in racism and racial discrimination, Jim Crows, and stuff like that. And yes, it's all in the past, right, guys? That's all it's supposed to be, right? In the past. But those laws, those ways of living and ways of following law, it changed America greatly over the last 150 or 200 years. And now we're up to what? It's the founding of the country was founded in 1776, approximately. That is, quote unquote. Um, so it's been about a good 200, almost 250 years since the founding of this country, approximately. That is, and the old way of thinking is not the same anymore. It's like it's just my way of thinking, and I'm sure who else who sees my past videos on this YouTube channel or BitChute, especially not only on BitChute but YouTube especially, my main Dr. Gaze 101 account, and it's a lot that's changed, man. I don't understand how can the younger generation say that they're into knowing about more information about what's going on with their country, but they find out that it's about lies and deceits, and they were forced to hate their country at large. Now, yes, the United States has like I said, a dark history, but it's not just the dark only. We have life and liberty, the pursuit of happiness. That meant something to when I was growing up. The American dream, the pursuit of the American dream, the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But these guys who are younger than me, they either I'm misunderstanding them or they just don't care what I know about certain things. Like the importance of having these certain titles or these certain feats, you want to call them, they're accomplishments of our country. That's what I'm trying to explain to Ram and the rest of his friends on the gaming community. Now I understand it's the gaming community. They don't care much about history or politics. Yeah, I should give up on them, right? I should just let them be and let them play their Halo and Call of Duty and let them buy as many Xboxes as they want, right? But it's good to have that younger crowd with me to understand where I come from. Now, the older crowd who are over, let's say, 35, 40 years old, some of you guys out there perhaps look at me and be like, hey, I recognize this person. This guy had been out there for 15 years on YouTube. Yes, and I have been on the run since 2006. And I know I keep tooting my own horn to some extent, but it's an accomplishment that I see that based upon my research, my understanding about my world, and my thought process, my thoughts that I developed over the years was from constant reading, constant study, constant understanding about my world. But these guys are like looking at me like I'm just some expired or half expired of thoughts and ideas. Like it's pathetic on my part, and as well as pathetic on their part too. It's like, where can we get to bridge the gap where it's like, come on, like this is ridiculous. Like the game community should be on par, or at least have a basic understanding about history or basic understanding about politics. And I understand the gaming community is just gaming. That's about it. I should focus on gaming. And you're right. It's but we're living in a society at large where it's like it's basically getting bleak, and with certain events going on with the Ukraine war, and and the famine and going on in India, or especially with other countries like Romania and stuff, along with other countries too. They're going through a food crisis. Venezuela, especially, going through their own little situation of communism 101 in a sense. Bad stuff over there too, going on there too, and it's to the point where it's like you want to put yourself in a position of like understanding and to exchange thoughts and ideas, but I see that it's harder than ever to do that now, because time's been progressing. Different people are now coming into the play on the internet. New people who I never saw or heard of firsthand witnesses of 9/11 or the fluoride of the drinking water conspiracy theory, quote unquote, which is more of a corruption system, because if you put fluoride in the drinking water severely enough, like huge quantities, it creates calcifies the sex organs as well as the pineal gland that's in the middle of your brain here somewhere. Like that's what's called the third eye. The third eye right here, pineal gland. And I'm just from reading on this stuff. I'm not no doctor or a super official health expert, but I did my homework. I did the research, and I continue to reread and reevaluate and reinvigorate my research or my what I am I thinking of, whatever I'm thinking of. It's all this stuff with the first black president back in the 2000s. It was like it was a big thing, and uh, what Ram told me directly, as one example directly, he said, why should that matter to him? Why should that matter? It's about the character, content of character, like they mentioned about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's right, but I don't know. I'm not trying to be the next, super leader or whatever you want to call it. Bring the masses together. Yeah, it's possible, but I'm not up to that par yet. I'm not up to that standard or that responsibility, and I don't think I'm not going to be able to anytime soon. But it's nice to know to someone out there. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that I'm over zealous or am I just overdoing it with these guys on the online, with the gaming community, or at least with my part, this portion of the gaming community that is. And yes, Charles, Dr. Games, you should hold off on politics and move on with your life, right? That's what's going on now. And it's like there's no struggle anymore with these people, with these younger guys. They don't feel mistreated or been misappropriated or been like misguided or they were told lies and deceits and all at the same time happened in their life in a short period of time, like what I went through. And they don't experience what I experienced. It's just it sucks, because now it's like if you want to win over the populace at large in any office, whether it's as low as congressman or as low as city councilman or as high as the president of the United States, if you're not going to connect with the youth and you still cannot connect with the older adults because your way of thinking, or my way of thinking, my 34-year-old self as of this recording, my way of thinking is very extremely different than the collective. And that's what I'm trying to see. I will admit that, yes, I'm a very different from the rest or from my peers. Now, yes, I can reduce down that expression of feeling or whatever you want to call it, but why should I? Because it's my videos here on YouTube. It's my way of thinking on YouTube, on this channel especially, for how many years. I did my best to put myself out there and to advocate for change in this government. And still empower some of these people in charge. That's why I'm still continuing to make videos. Whether it's Bush, Obama, Clinton, Gore, Paulson, Bernanke, Greenspan, Pelosi and her family would be a millionaire and shit like that, and her ice cream fiasco, Bernie Sanders, fucking Paul Volcker, surprisingly he's still alive. He's the head of the Federal Reserve back in the 1970s. Janet Yellen, who's now the Treasury Secretary, was also federal chairman for a few years at the Federal Reserve. Timothy Geithner, who was part of the Goldman Sachs ties and interaction connections and stuff like that. John Corzine, who was a governor of New Jersey. He was a member of Goldman Sachs, the executive especially positions. It's a clusterfuck at the top. And if I ever have this kind of my own form of power and my own form of organization, whether I'm with people or not, depends on what organization I'm with, it's to a point where it's like, where's the struggle at among the collective at large, whether you're, like I said, as young as 18 or as old as 50 years old. Because now it's like we have food, we have water, we have soda, like what I have here is soda. And we have Axe dealer body spray. We smell good, we smoke marijuana, stuff like that, and I can afford that for the time being, at the time that is. And now it's like, what to do right exactly in the moment of like fixing what problems. Now you're like, oh, there's plenty of the fix, Charles, Dr. Games, stuff like that. What are you talking about? Especially the older crowd, like they see what I see and I see what they see. And I look around I talk among those older adults for throughout most of my life, whether it's at my community center or on the Yahoo chat rooms back in the 2000s. Now, to those who are well aware, Yahoo chat rooms are ferocious left-right paradigm of chats, and if you're in a left server, you be good. But if you show that you're right in a left server, you're gonna be ousted easily. And the same with Republicans as well too. It was a big discrepancy between these chats and back in the 2000s of Yahoo chat room, and that's the old way of thinking back in the 2000s. The first black president, and 9/11 happening, and Alex Jones being out in the forefront, with the New World Order agenda and stuff like that. It was some real shit going on back then. And I was trying to put some entertainment aspects to it, put a little gaming with the politics, whatever. And I was like, I mix some ice cream with broccoli, but what the fuck, right? Why not? Make people think, and the bring to my side on what I think of. To those that who are out there watching this for how many months of my videos, whether it's about politics or whether it's about video games, I thank you for watching. I thank you for a look, posting comments, things that matter. Talk, speak up, guys. Whoever's out there, because I know one thing, sir. There's always someone looking at my videos. There's always at least that one person out there who's watching my videos. And if you have a voice, use it well, use it good, use it all together. The more voices, the better. And I'm not part of the voiceless. I've been vocal for many years. I influenced many things. May not be literally in a on record written sense in writing, but I put some stuff out there that had somehow changed the world to what it is today. Have not been for us conspiracy theorists, whether you're called conspiracy theorists or not, we'll all be at FEMA camps. We will all be thinking the new world order way of thinking. That's what's going on with the younger crowd. At least that's what I'm seeing as a pattern in my perspective. That is to those who are well aware of the situation at large. In my perspective of what's going on with these my younger peers who want to call like that. Because I'm 34 right now, and I'm going to be 35 in a few weeks, and I'm starting to see that my thought process is very different altogether, and started to change a little bit, little by little over the years. At first I thought I had the truth of everything. I thought that the truth about the 9/11, the truth about politics and stuff like that, but it's never ending battle. It's a battle to be passed down to, and I feel like I have the responsibility to at least maintain some form of consistency, like maintain some form of outreach somehow, some way, or speaking up about the fact of what's going on for the last several decades. Personally, myself, I don't know everything what's going on the last several decades, but I just have enough information to get by. I have enough knowledge to get by too. So this old way of thinking, or that's where I'm at with the Bill Cosby and 9/11 and conspiracy theories in general, to the new way of thinking. Now it's about the ninjas and Shane Dawson, whatever those YouTubers are on YouTube, whatever. It's to the point where it's like, how much more can we fight if no one's not fighting the fight? No one's not. And this is what BGS, his name is, I think it's called, where he talked about that the gender wars is over. Like, we won the battle, technically us men, black or white. And the manosphere is spread out to other parts of the YouTube community at large. And I never do. Maybe I could be a part of the black manosphere myself. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. And I've been talking before I heard of the black manosphere, before I ever heard of MGTOW, before I ever heard of all these buzzwords you want to call like that. And, I, for one, did my best to do what I did back then. And now look what's going on now. It's like, everyone knows, or at least have the potential to know what's going on. There's just no excuse now whatsoever not to know what's going on. Whether it's the corruption in our political system, or with the banking system, the real estate markets, the jokes now. Like, who wants to buy these things, or these properties here in New York City? Who? Louis Rossman was right about this for years. Who in their right mind wanted to spend $50,000 a month, or if not $30,000 a month, on a convenience store just to rent out? You're not owning the fucker. Like, if I wanted to make a deal, I would definitely say, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for the building, or for the storefront, whatever, and that's it. 1,000 flat, no monthly payments, no nothing, no anything of that sort. It just doesn't make any sense. So the real estate should have been a huge crash already from the start, but these banks prop it up, and this is what I'm trying to explain to the younger crowd. But they don't all that. Not the young crowd altogether, but it's like just people in general that know. You know, it's like it feels like nothing has changed while I was on YouTube, let alone what I do for my community at large, or locally, or internationally, or whatever, however means I've been doing for how many years. I mean, I took part, and contributed to Campaign for Liberty and local charities in my neighborhood, Nature Matter, and Turning Point USA at one point. Then it's Prager and Prager University. I do my best to put myself out there and contribute to however to fight this fight. And like you wonder to yourself as you get older, who's gonna pass? Who can I pass on, or what group of people can I pass on this knowledge to? Not everyone knows my videos, and not everyone's going to download my videos. And even one person download everything, it's impossible now because it's like the YouTube censorship. If you know how to, you rip it off with no problem. So if you know how to take my videos from the internet, by all means, do it. I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to tell you not otherwise. And if 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, depending on how old I get, if I ever get old, it still be relevant. And not only that relevant, but also the fact that it'll help back up my claims that I made over the years and decades. So, guys, I understand the new way of thinking is approaching, has been approaching little by little to those who are of a certain age group or age bracket. From Bill Cosby, especially the Bill Cosby thing, they look at Bill Cosby, the younger crowd, they look at them as like a man whore. Like, and I understand the feeling, You didn't realize that Bill Cosby was supposed to be this man of a whore slash, sexual harasser, harassing 50 women. But that's the suspicious part of it all. 50 women came forward saying that, they were sexually assaulted by Bill Cosby, but only two, not even, perhaps even one at best, file a lawsuit or a criminal charge against Bill Cosby. Why is that? That's what I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to give to those who are well aware of the Bill Cosby situation, at least that. But the old way, the new way of thinking, it's like, it's a huge gap. It's a very huge gap. It's scary at the same time, interesting at the same time. You can take advantage of the opportunity, but in the end, it's like what to do now. How to portray the problems of today onto the future of the people. Perhaps we don't have that solely 100% conflict to fight over. And I'm starting to see that, like, no matter how much anger I build up inside me, no matter who's out there watching my videos or who's out there looking at other videos about the presidency and the presidential debates, or about the local governments, the local governors, and the councilmen and stuff like that. Like, it's the daily operation. It's the business as usual situation. The more things change, the more things that have been changing, the more things they stay the same at the same time. Yeah, and now it's like, wow, this is like something of a mesmerizing moment, where it is what it is. It's stagnant. Yes, are the prices of food and water going up? Food and water supplies going up, like the burgers and the beef and the chicken, the bread especially. It's going up, but it's like it's the usual whatever moment. That's what's going on. It's like until there's a huge food shortage in the United States, if ever, and it will affect us somehow, some way this year, next year, especially. I will predict, in my perspective, I will predict that by the end of this year, or by the winter time, or at least the fall season, there's going to be a food shortage of certain vegetables and fruits. That's a starting point. Now, processed foods like cereal and packaged cookies and stuff like that. I mean, those will still be made, but not as much. So I don't know. Does it seem like I'm talking about randomly here? Because it's just the old way, new way of thinking. Like the way the way I was brought up, the way that I've been taught about religion and politics and spirituality and economics, on my own or through other people in my neighborhood, it kind of catches up to you where it's like, wow, my way of thinking on the internet is starting to become irrelevant. And this is what's coming down to. Now it's irrelevant, but also the problems of yesterday are not the problems of today. Yeah. Now, some people out there will say, "Oh, what are you talking about, Dr. Gaines? We already have problems. People are struggling with child support and food, baby formula and stuff like that." Yeah, you're right, but in the end, who's really fighting that fight? Why fight? I mean, how can you fight on a full stomach? You're satisfied. You're content, if that's a word that you can use. You're calm, cool, collected, like myself. I'm just, you know, maintain that fort. That's all I'm doing. And yeah, there's peacetime. What's the point of going out there to go to war through another conventional war over the sake of what resources, where we can produce the resources at an exponential point, and that we use more of the rainforest to produce more food, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's something where it's like, hey, if you want to survive, you have to feed the system. All right, guys, it's been 25 minutes. I've been talking. Please thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Donate to my Patreon, Dr. Gaines 101. If you cannot donate, then just share my videos. Comment down below, guys. Tell me what's on your mind. Am I speaking the truth, or you think I'm just bullshitting? To any older adults out there who can vouch for me, or at least talk about their perspective. Short comment, long comment, whatever. If you want to do a video response, you can feel free to do that as well. You might have to put the RE read in my title of the old way versus the new way of thinking. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. I might do a recording sometime this weekend for my gaming channel. All right, guys, I'll see you around. Bye.